about this film? Well, I think I wanted to wait a while to kind of see how it does, and I guess it's one of those movies that got slept on. But I think it's one of the best movies of last year, and I think I talked about it briefly on, I think when I made my list of top 10 movies of 2024. Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy. I'm your man, Mr. Alton. Today, I would like to talk to you about another underrated film that you need to check out, and it's a film that's I could see it's going to be divisive. Some may not like it for its story or just whatever the reason, which I could kind of see it. And I'm talking about Garland's Civil War, starring Kristen Dunst, Kaylee Spacey, I think her name is, Jesse Plemons, and I don't know what the other guy's name is. My apologies. Written and directed by Alex Garland. It's a story centered around a alternative, fictionalized idea if the U.S. government or the United States fell apart and was divided into two, I think two factions, or it might be three or several. They have a map of it broken down into the movie, and the film chronicles a photographer. She is given an assignment, or actually no, she is considering a opportunity to interview the president, while bringing along a rookie photographer, and they go on a journey to interview the president throughout the fallout of the United States, given that the country is at a civil war within itself, thus the title Civil War. And this movie was pretty phenomenal. I'll be honest with you, I think this is the best action movie of last year. The action scenes here were so intense. I loved it. Like, it felt very anxiety driven when an action set piece were to come about. It felt very, I wouldn't necessarily say claustrophobic, but it felt very, very uneasy what was going on, especially given to the current environment of what's going on politically, which I won't get into it. But this film is pretty much an idea if the United States, and if you remember in history books, the country was at a civil war with itself, like 300 to 400 years ago. They had their own civil war from the North and the South. Kind of the same thing here, but the film takes on the point of view of the journalists who are covering the story and navigating through the country as they try to interview the president, who is pretty much seen as a target in the current affairs of the movie. And this is a road trip film, and so far it is A24's biggest budget funded film, and I applaud them for taking a bolder and riskier idea, or just going for bigger movies. And I have to say, this was a very fascinating look of this kind of concept. I do believe A24 took a big risk of funding a project like this, and I applaud them for it. The main highlight, at least for me, are the action sequences. I thought were just outstandingly intense and very entertaining. I wouldn't say the film gets a little preachy, but it does kind of give a very bleak sight of if the government, or just with the U.S. just collapsing, and then people are just trying to make sense of how to live their lives in a fallen country. I mean, there's already videos online of people considering of finding other places to leave, but Karen Dunst, not Karen Dunst. The main lead actress, yeah, Cameron Dunce. She was great in here. She, I think, was phenomenal, but it did, at least for me. I mean, I don't know anything about journalism, so I thought it felt very unusual that they're using old school cameras. I would figure, I don't know, something would be a little bit more modern, like your cell phones or some new state of the art camera, or I don't know. I don't know how that all works out. I do think the film could have been a little bit longer, stretching out the premise and just more world building of the film. I do love the fear that Alex Garland has placed on this idea of what side you could be on, or what, just the kind of deconstruction and weirdness is not the right word I would say, but the dysfunctional reality of how interesting it could be if we went to war within ourselves, the country. And it's a very fascinating look. The film doesn't provide any easy answers to really find out what that could be, but it's a very fascinating tale of that idea. And I do like the action scenes in here. Like I said, like I can't talk about enough about the action scenes. They were just intense. They're stressful, and I like a little fear of just how the action scenes were directed. I do think performances wise, I mean, the film follows a road trip structure. I mean, in the road trip genre. So I mean, it wasn't. I think it felt like I think it was a little bit of a gimmick. It fell into that little genre piece of a road trip movie, but that's what it is. It's a road trip film. But I don't have really any issues with the film, except that I wish the film was a bit longer to kind of explore more of these ideas and kind of just settle out to where it felt it could have been more expanded on. I felt like maybe this could have been better off as a mini series, because A24 is doing television shows now. I mean, such as like the show Beef and The Sympathizer. I think that would have been better off as a show. With that said, I do think the film got heavily snubbed with the Oscar nominations. At least for me, it should have been nominated, at least consideration for cinematography and then sound design. The sound design in this is amazing. When you go in that theater, man, it just go boom, boom, boom with the action scenes, man. The action scenes when they were, like I said, I can't stress enough with the action scenes. It was intense. There is a little gimmick in the film where during certain scenes, you get photography images of the shots that the photographers are taking, or the pictures that the photographers or the characters are taking. That might annoy some people. It didn't really particularly did so with me. It was very fascinating of a another aspect of the story was how one particular character is looking up to her favorite photographer, Kristen Dunst, and you kind of see the reality that she is placed in when she is on this road trip, and figures out like, okay, this is not exactly what I imagined, but she still goes along with it, and then you can kind of see how dehumanizing her character becomes, or just with these photographers when they go out there and take these pictures and see certain horrific things in life. You can see how emotionally withdrawn they become, and they become so desensitized to it. You kind of feel like they lose their humanity, and I think that was something that I think this film was about, was how people can lose their humanity during experiencing such incredible levels of violence and just hopelessness and bleakness that they become pretty much emotionless to it. And that's something that was actually quite fearful of seeing that. So I could see that this film could be very controversial. It is not a happy film at all, but I could see that this film is divisive, but I highly recommend checking it out. I think it's currently available on Max. I saw it in the theater, but I would love to rewatch this again. Civil War, have you seen it? Comment below, let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.